one other thing that happened this past weekend, which I unfortunately don't think we have much footage of, is there's a remote YCS. There was a remote YCS in Latin America, which was won by Rafael Reich with Tierlemans. Congratulations to Rafael. He won the remote YCS with Tierlemans. He's the guy that also got, I believe it was 3rd place at Master Duel Worlds with Team Brazil, and that was cool. So Tierlemans have taken down this tournament out of only 2 in top 32. Once again, shout out to Lampy for compiling these stats on a tournament that otherwise has not received as much coverage. I do kind of understand that people aren't super hyped about some of these because, like, I mean, this is all happening in a period where we've talked about this a lot, right? Pre-Phantom Nightmare is kind of like this state that we are in right now, where everyone is just waiting for Phantom Nightmare to drop, and also like Europe doesn't have huge tournaments. You know, we don't have a YCS announced for the next couple weeks or months, so like the whole excitement for the TCG is a little bit more on the lower side. So I understand that this tournament hasn't been super covered, but still, I hope that Phantom Nightmare releasing next week at this point is gonna shake things up enough to get people really excited again, to like follow tournament results and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I still wanted to bring some attention to it, and we have a top 32 breakdown here that is consisting of the following things. We have, in the most represented, we have Labyrinth with 5 spots, which is, in my opinion, very much fair and expected, because Labyrinth, I think, with transaction rollback, would also be my deck of choice for the TCG at the moment. Like before Phantom Nightmare, I think Labyrinth is looking to be not the best deck by a mile, but I still think the best deck probably, which is why we're going to build it later today, because it's also the other reason why I wanted to build Labyrinth today is because I think it's one of the decks that has the potential to hold up into next format. Obviously, it's not a fire deck, so it's probably going to lose its position at the very top, or as like quote-unquote best deck, but it's still going to be a contender. So that's why I'm going to look into it, and it also doesn't change that much with Phantom Nightmare, which is why I think it's a good thing to look at it already. Lampy said yesterday a few deck numbers are not correct here. Okay, but I'm assuming the majority is okay, so we can work with it. It's all right. Like if 1 or 2 of these numbers are off by 1, it doesn't matter that much. Oh, Lampy's in chat. Okay, it's just 1 number. Okay, which number is off? Just for context. The Scareclaw was a Manadium enjoyer. Okay, so it was. So you're saying the Adventure Scareclaw was just Manadium, so it's technically 3 Manadium? Okay. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Alright, so we've got 5 Labyrinth, we've got 4 Rescue Ace, with 1 having Fire King in the mix, so I'm assuming that's like the pack brew, which is a solid deck. We have 4 Fire Kings, we have 3 Sprites, with which Sprite... For some reason, Sprite seems to be very, very popular in especially South America or Latin America a lot. Like I see Sprite, especially Adventure Sprite, I see a lot being played over there in their YCSs, but yeah. And then we have 2 Tierlemans, and then apparently it was 3 Manadium, 2 Kashtira, which we've also seen coming back a decent bit in the last couple weeks at the regional level, so it makes sense. Vanquish Soul, 2 people in top 32. Funnily enough, the final for this tournament was not something like Labyrinth against Fire King, which is what you would expect from these numbers. The finals of this event was Vanquish Soul against Tierlemans. So that's that. You know, the finals, the 2 of these decks that were not represented in the top 32 in large numbers, but still made it all the way to the finals. So that's interesting. We had 2 Fluanderees, and then 1 Orchist, 1 Chimera, 1 Super Heavy Runic. Dude, show me that Super Heavy Runic. What is that about? What is the Super Heavy Runic about? Trap Tricks, Adventure, Scareclaw, which is apparently Manadium, and Phantom Knight. What happened to the Year of Fire? Well, first of all, there's still 8 fire decks here in top 32, which is 25%. So I don't really understand the question. Second of all, the Year of Fire has not really started yet because Phantom Nightmare releases next week, and that's when the Year of Fire really begins. Okay, so this is already relatively fire heavy, you know, 4 Rescue Ace, 4 Fire King. That's a decent chunk of Diabellstar decks, but that number is only gonna go up with Phantom Nightmare. So that's that. All right, so once again, shoutouts to Lampy for at least giving us some data on this event, and shoutouts to Raphael for taking it down with Tearlaments. Once again, Tearlaments, honestly, the most sturdy deck apparently in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! That just refuses to die, both in the OCG and in the TCG for freaking 2 years or whatever. But anyways,